Welcome, everybody, to Houston Raceway Park, located just east of Houston, Texas, for the first official event of the 2008 season for the American Drag Racing League. This is the Drag Illustrated magazine-sponsored Dragpalooza event, a part of the 2008 Flowmaster National Guard ADRL Drag Racing Series. We're already kicking things off with record-breaking performances here at the first true event of a series that actually started in 2007. We'll be presenting the 4 professional categories in regular American Drag Racing League competition, including the Pro Extreme division, in which virtually anything goes, the Pro Nitrous category, reserved for cars using nitrous oxide injection or turbochargers or centrifugal superchargers. Then there's those wild Extreme 10.5 cars running on 10.5-inch wide rear rubber with no restrictions on their power plants. And of course, the Extreme Pro Motorcycle division that is always one of the wildest of all. And here with me, Kenny Nowling, who'll be presenting our coverages here along with myself. And I gotta say, you could not be happier with A, the weather, B, the crowd, C, the cars, and D, the runs.
Well, I didn't know I was going to get a lesson in my alphabet today, but hopefully after this, somebody can buy me a new hat. This thing's all tattered and torn, but in all seriousness, Brad, it's pretty overwhelming. I mean, we've been doing this a long time, and, you know, I thought to myself, at some point we were going to have a day like this. Certainly we've had Rockingham, Valdosta, we've set records, we've had to close the gates, but this is unbelievable. I just went up in the Angel Brothers construction helicopter. They're backed up 5 miles every direction. And here's the thing, all these people, all these records, everything, my son going 000 on the tree this morning, junior dragster, highlight of my day, highlight of my year as far as I'm concerned. So, but for all the folks at Flowmaster, the National Guard, certainly, Sergeant Metzler's out here, Colonel Jones, he'll be watching this on TV, Major Baptiste of the gang, I just can't thank them enough. You know, they're making our dreams come true, and the great thing is to be able to give back to the community the way that we do with our ticket distribution. It's pretty humbling and certainly overwhelming. So the 2008 Battle for the Belts, it's on.
This episode of Adrenaline, the series, is being brought to you by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company, and by the National Guard. To learn more about the National Guard, visit 1-800-GO-GUARD.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Houston. Ted Jones, Kenny Nowling, Mike Side with you. Let's go back, take a look at the highlights from Pro Extreme Motorcycle and a big upset as Billy Vose, the defending champion out of Pennsylvania, red-lighted on his Suzuki, giving Cootie Thomas the win. Then a pair of Suzukis did battle. T.T. Jones out of Alabama against Robert Honeycutt from North Carolina. Honeycutt had the whole shot, but that's the only time he led. T.T. Jones 438, 164.
Angelia Jones couldn't be happier. She's a little excitable, Ted.
Now Kawasaki versus Suzuki. Scott Gray out of Ocala, Florida against the Georgian Travis Davis.
Scott Gray, first race back, Ted, since last year's horrific crash in Huntsville, Alabama at the Summer Drags, and he gets the win.
Let's move on now. Highlights round number 1. Extreme 10.5, Michelle Wilson out of Texas would face Mike Hill from Washington, Georgia, a Corvette and a Firebird.
And the lady gets the win, 436 with a 9 at 168. Her crew loves it. Mike Hill was all kinds of out of shape in his Corvette.
Is it difficult for the small tire cars on this track surface? Is it just a tad too cold, or did it seem to work out okay?
It moved around quite a bit. I drove it, but as long as it stayed pointing the right direction and we got down there, that was all I wanted to see.
All right, now Steve Gorman would face Todd Moyer. Both of them out of Texas right here. Grand Am with Firebird. Foul start from Moyer right off the line. An incredible double 04 hole shot for Gorman. Highlights, round 1. Pro Nitrous, Tricky Ricky Smith, King, North Carolina. Out of Kansas City, DeLon Joseph, the 63 vet. Ricky asleep on the tree, 105. But take a look at the 399 that he picked up the win with.
That's the first time finally I've run the 3s, Brett. I mean, out of all the years. So good run that time. A little soft in second, but I wanted to be conservative. So next round we're going to have to get after it. You know, Halsey will run pretty good if he wins.
Here's an unusual run, Kenny, between Billy Harper and Randy Weatherford.
Billy Harper, the pride of Paducah, Kentucky, against Weatherford in his brand new Bickle Camaro. Huge fireball out of Weatherford's Camaro, but Harper crosses center line.
Did you see anything except fire?
I seen fire, that's all I seen.
Moving on now to Pro Extreme. Jason Scruggs, a defending champion out of Mississippi in his Corvette against Bill Doucette from Louisiana.
Pole shot for Scruggs, and that means the end of the story for Doucette, who was all over the place. Scruggs, 386 at 203, Ted.
And we'll remind everybody, if you're new to this, these are 8th mile times. Now take a look at the race between Sean Davis and Travis Swearingen.
Davis whacks the throttle a couple of times, whacks the cone, and Travis will get the win.
We'll take a break. When we come back, more excitement from Houston with the quarterfinals. Stay with us, please.
I joined the National Guard and never thought I'd be saving lives.
It's more than money for college. It's built my character and given me a sense of accomplishment. Now I'm on a career path and I'm the leader of my team.
I put on the uniform and I have a whole new outlook on life. Country, community, family. That's what matters most to me. If that matters to you, go to 1-800-GO-GUARD.com.
Sound. Flowmaster Super 40 mufflers, the sound of great American performance.
Welcome back to Adrenaline the Series, coming to you this week from Drag Illustrated Dragpalooza 4 from Houston Raceway Park, Baytown, Texas. Quarterfinal action now. The Pro Extreme Motorcycle, Memo Marciano out of New York on his Suzuki would face Cootie Thomas out of Georgia. Cootie Thomas wins it with a whole shot 007 434, second best ET in eliminations. Let's take a look at it. Kenny with the instant replay from 1-800-GO-GUARD.com.
Ted, Cootie Thomas finished number 2 in the world last year. That's the reason why. 007 reaction time for Cootie, gets the whole shot win by just that much at the finish line.
So what's the best possible way Cootie could win?
Cootie had kind of a lazy takeoff, but in the middle.
No, you didn't. What's the best way you could win?
Best way is leaving.
Whole shot win.
Whole shot.
Got it. It was a pair of 34s. I think it was 34 with a 9 to a 34 with a 1. You got it.
Cool. Thanks. We're looking forward to going.
See, you thought you were late.
Yeah, I thought I was.
Next up, Scott Gray out of Ocala, Florida on his Kawasaki would face a Suzuki of Alabamian T.T. Jones. T.T. Jones picks up the win, 439 at 162 on 2 wheels. Monty Campbell contemplates his next run. Let's go to top end.
This is weird air right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out here. And like I said, we tested earlier. We got the clutch set up right. So
it went 439.
Okay, so last time we went 38, so just slow down a little bit.
It's consistent.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Next up, Darian Guillory out of Edwardsville, Illinois on a Kawasaki. His opponent would be Monty Campbell out of Venice, Florida, running his 2002 Kawasaki.
Darian Guillory, Monty Campbell are number 2 and 7 qualifiers, Ted. Oh, and Guillory goes red, throws the round away. Monty and Amy Campbell pick up the win. An 0:22 reaction time for Monty, though. He was on his game, Ted.
McKinney at 461 would not have won that race as we look at the 1-800-GOGUARD.com replay. 432 is what Darian ran.
Yeah, Ted, but he left just a bit too early and turned on the red light.
I know if somebody told you that Darren Guillory was going to go a 432 against you, you wouldn't have believed the win light was going to be in your lane.
No, not at all. That was totally, we misjudged the starting line, blew the tire away, but we'll take them any way they can come.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, if it's dumped in your lap, be a gentleman and accept the gift.
I'll accept it with no problem and smile.
And the last quarterfinal round would feature Ronnie Procopio against Mantez Thompson, a pair of Suzuki's Guinea.
Ronnie qualified number 1 this weekend, Ted, and it looks like Ronnie's going to get the round win. 434 to 166. Procopio and the Legion of Doom march on.
The reverse angle replay. We move to the other side of the track for a different perspective.
As you see the shift light coming on in Procopio's face, he marches down the 660 and gets the win. 434, an impressive run here in these conditions.
What did you expect in this air But what also did you expect from this track?
Well, the track's what scares me. The air, I don't mind. But if I did a high 30, I'd be happy.
Well, then prepare to smile big. 34.
There you go. That's what I need.
So here's the way they'll pair up when we go to the semifinal round action a little later in the show. Right now, though, we'll take a break. When we come back, the guys that try to do it on 10.5-inch tires.
There are lots of ways to measure performance, but when it comes to performance parts, one company sets the standard: Summit Racing Equipment. Summit Racing offers the largest selection of in-stock parts, #1 rated customer service and expert tech advice, fast free delivery, and the lowest prices in high-performance parts. Get your free catalog at summitracing.com and let Summit Racing help you maximize performance, no matter how you measure it.
What do these two have in common? They're both working in a fun and financially rewarding field, and they both graduated from Marine Mechanics Institute.
I definitely feel like I'm living my dream because I love what I do every day, and I love being outside on the water.
Train at MMI's new facility in Orlando, Florida to gain the knowledge necessary to work on today's marine engines. Make the call today. Marine Mechanics Institute. Dream it, learn it, live it.
Watching Adrenaline the Series. Hey, there you have the Texas Patriots Motorcycle Club, 300 strong on hand here in Houston. Moving into the quarterfinal round now. Extreme 10.5. For those of you that are new, that means they run on a 10.5-inch tire, which is a real problem getting all that power hooked up. We'll take a look right now at Corey Wheat out of Texas against David James from La Plata, Missouri. A Grand Am against a Chevrolet Cavalier, Kenny.
All different kinds is Wes Buck, David James, crew chief, and the editor of Drag Illustrated magazine, our title rights sponsor here this weekend. Buttons James down, and we send him on the 660. Huge fireball out of Wheat's car, Ted. Nitrous backfire right at the hit. Wes Buck's happy. David James 0-15, and he goes a 438 to boot.
Well, he'll take that. Remember, low ET gets lane choice in the next round.
It sure does. And let's take a look at our 1-800-GoGuard.com instant replay. You see the first backfire, then a huge explosion for Corey Wheat, and his night is over.
You had to be more concerned about how these little tires were going to handle this Colon track surface.
Well, the track was pretty cold out there, and we had to put some power back in it for these guys. They're starting to run some numbers, so I was a little worried, and it got loose on me out there about top of low gear, so I had my hands full. So
well, it still went a 438.
Yeah, I know we're down on power considerably. This rear Morrison 738 with Shannon Jenkins calling the shots. We got to keep it toned down this weekend on this cold surface.
Next up, ladies and gentlemen, meet Kenny Neese out of Trenton, South Carolina, his 1963 Corvette. Now, he was supposed to run Bill Jewett. What happened?
Jewett was rolling towards the water, could not get the car to fire, so Kenny Neese is going to go on a single. Huge wheel stand right at the hit of the throttle, and Neese powers through. 446 at 167. He's marching on.
Yeah, about a tenth off the pace, though. Next up, Shane Gray out of New Mexico, 1967 Chevy Nova against Steve Gorman from Whitesboro, Texas, in his 2001 Pontiac Grand Am.
Defending world champion Stevie Gorman, and Gray just rolls through the light, goes red. Gorman's going to go to the semifinals, 434 to 163.81 miles per hour.
Let's go back and take a look at it with the 1-800-GoGuard.com instant replay. Watch the Nova closest to you right here in your living room, rolling forward like maybe he had a line lock problem.
Must have had something mechanical as Gorman disappears out of the screen and Gray's done.
Are you not surprised that it actually hooked? I would think at this point you'd be expecting it to spin.
Kind of half and half. If it would have, I would not have been surprised. But we've got some little tricks going, and what made it.
You don't want to say much, and I understand because it's working, so I won't ask.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, Gary Wyatt out of Newmarket, Florida with his 2005 Scion. You got to be kidding me.
Ted, we're not kidding. We've got Scions, we've got Pontiac Chevrolets, all different makes and models here in the fastest street car division on the planet, Extreme 10.5.
Well, let's see if he can take on Michelle Wilson successfully. Oh boy, you know, here's the problem with 10.5-inch tires. Too much horsepower, not enough tire.
Michelle Wilson gets the win, a 5:44 at 145. Crew's happy, everybody's happy. Let's take a look at the 1-800-GO-GUARD.com instant replay. The guy that's not happy is Gary White. As you see, he goes into that severe tire spin right there, drifts towards the center line as he starts to bring it back. Michelle's powering by. Now she's having problems. As you said, Ted, the 10.5-inch tires, that's the limitation on this class. They back and forth to the finish line, and Michelle gets the win.
Was that fun or what?
That was great fun.
Well, it was great. It was even better fun when the wind light came on, but I'm sure at about half track you were wondering what the heck was going on.
I was wondering what was going on. My car left, picked the wheels up, and then shook the tires, and saw the Titan car come by, and he did the same thing. And I've got to go. So I recovered, and you know, they're a great team. They're tough, and I knew we had to be on it, but unfortunately we both had problems, but I made it to the win.
All right, Michelle, here's the way they'll pair up as we go into the semifinals later on in the show. Meanwhile, we'll take a break right now. When we return, the Pro Nitrous guys are up, quarterfinals. Stay tuned, you'll love it.
ARP, the world leader in fastener technology, the fasteners of champions.
And ARP works, so why look anywhere else? The only reason we use ARP is because we can't have failures. I swear by ARP, I've always used ARP products. They're the best. In my opinion, they're the best fasteners out there.
If you want to be the best, you got to have the best. ARP is the best.
ARP fasteners are the only fasteners to use. All my fasteners are ARP. If you want good product, go to ARP.
ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
Locar, maker of the original flexible engine and transmission dipsticks. Innovator of the exclusive lockout button for our automatic transmission shifter. With universal applications for easy installation. We also offer tech service from the manufacturer. Locar, always building American quality with a lifetime warranty. For more on our free catalog, email us at catalog@locar.com. Locar, quality, plain and simple.
Welcome back. Now this will get your adrenaline flowing. The Houston Texan cheerleaders are on hand all weekend here at Dragpalooza 4. Quarterfinals of Pro Nitrous coming up right now. Randy Weatherford backing up after he makes the burnout right there. He'll be facing this guy, Dennis Radford, in his 70 Cuda from Baker City, Oregon.
All the way from the great Northwest, Dennis and the lovely Judy Radford, couple of Pro Nitrous hitters.
Radford had the whole shot, but Randy Weatherford picks it up with a 403 at over 180 miles per hour. Now as Halsey burns out for our next race, let's go to Brett Kepner.
Obviously, it works, but what did you find when you got back to the pits? What did you have to fix?
Well, I had a little too much timing coming out of it, and that's what made it cough up there.
So it was just a valve problem?
No, it was a timing issue. It was just dropping too much timing out of the system when it went to second gear, and it didn't have enough timing, and it went to zero.
Well, you must have fixed it. It went 403.
Fixed it, baby.
Ricky Smith burns out in a 1963 plastic fast car out of King, North Carolina. His opponent over in the far lane will be Jim Halsey from Street, Maryland. 1968 Camaro, beautiful car. Now, you know, Ricky Smith is known for his starting line games. That's why they call him Tricky.
That's what I hear, Ted, but I'm not going anywhere near that. What I can tell you is Jim Halsey is our defending drag stock champion. The most prestigious drag race in all of Door Slammer drag racing. Won it last fall at Rockingham Dragway in front of a packed house. Purges the nitrous system, gets things ready to go here. Speaking of packed house, Ted, they're still here. Still here late into the evening here in Baytown.
Well, Tricky Ricky had the whole shot, but to no avail. Jim Halsey will pick it up with a 402. Take another look at it with 1-800-GoGuard.com replay.
When history reflects on this class many years from now, these will be two of the guys that have won tons of races and championships. Jim Halsey at the stripe, oh so close, but he's going to round number 3.
I know that Jim Halsey was prepared for a good old drag race, but, buddy, that was a good old drag race.
Yeah, whenever you race Ricky, you better have your act together.
You basically left together. It was only a couple of hundreds apart. You were, I believe, an 04 flat, and he was like an 05. I mean, it was a brutal drag race. You had to see him.
Yeah, I saw him out in like second gear, but, this Fulton horsepower pulled away there at the end.
Yeah, the 184 was a big difference at the finish line.
Yeah, there's a bump in the left lane that's upsetting my car a little bit. That's why the speed's down some.
Get out of the left lane.
I don't know if I want to do that or not.
A pair of 68 Camaros will do battle next. Stan Allen out of New Iberia, Louisiana, does his burnout. He will be facing Pat Stoken from I Have Found It in Eureka, Montana.
Ted, you mentioned these are a pair of 68 Camaros, which is obvious to our viewers. What may not be obvious is Tim McCamus race cars. Built both of them, one of the best craftsmen in all of drag racing. Lots of cars in the ADRL running Tim McCamus chassis.
A little problem off the starting line, but Stoken wins the reaction time battle and the race. As we look at it again on the replay, you'll be able to see tire shake right off the starting line.
Now, from the Montana monster perspective, that had to be pretty darn entertaining from the in-car perspective. What happened first?
Well, it started shaking, so I got out of it, and then I had to get back in it. I seen that he was behind or right beside me, so I thought I'd better get back in it.
Well, it was an ugly 440, but there's no such thing as an ugly win light.
No, we'll take it out if we can get it.
Next up, the National Guard-sponsored entry of Harold Martin, the guy that knows you can't buy a car with a carburetor nowadays.
He is the EFI wizard. He's going to take on Shannon the Iceman Jenkins here in the near lane, driving Mike Castellana's Firebird. His Black Ice 68 Camaro won't be ready until our next event in Tulsa, so Mike Castellana, his teammate, loaned him his car for the weekend. Mike had other obligations. Harold driving the National Guard Team Blue entry this year, still flying AC Delco colors as well.
Well, problems you could see there for Martin, but it didn't matter. The Iceman had the whole shot, and then everything went wrong.
Let's take a look at the 1-800-GOGUARD.com instant replay. The farther into the evening we get, the cooler the track temperature is. It's making it a little trickier to navigate. Harold Martin, a fantastic driving job to get the win.
Anytime you can get ahead of Shannon Jenkins, you've obviously done your job, but what did you learn? What are you going to have to do for the next round?
We got to go back and race this racetrack, and that's going to be a very tricky thing to do. But this team, this National Guard team's up for that, so we'll go do it. I mean, we know it's tricky, and it's on a sliding scale, too. So not only do you have to race what you just raced, but also anticipate what it's going to be winter cold by the next time we come out.
1 runs 4, 2 runs 3. That's the way it's supposed to happen. We'll have that in the semifinals. Meanwhile, time for us to take another break. Pro Extreme quarterfinals coming up next.
ARP, the world leader in fastener technology, the fasteners of champions.
And ARP works, so why look anywhere else? The only reason we use ARP is because we can't have failures. I swear by ARP. I've always used ARP products. They're the best. In my opinion, they're the best fasteners out there.
If you want to be the best, you got to have the best. ARP is the best.
ARP fasteners are the only fasteners to use. All my fasteners are ARP. If you want good product, go to ARP.
ARP, the world leader in fastener technology.
What do these two have in common? They're both working in a fun and financially rewarding field, and they both graduated from Marine Mechanics Institute.
I definitely feel like I'm living my dream. because I love what I do every day, and I love being outside on the water.
Train at MMI's new facility in Orlando, Florida to gain the knowledge necessary to work on today's marine engines. Make the call today. Marine Mechanics Institute. Dream it, learn it, live it.
The largest single day crowd in drag racing history is on hand for the ADRL Drag Illustrated Dragpalooza 4 from Houston. Jason Scruggs, the defending champ, is ready to go as we move into Pro Extreme. His opponent will be Travis Swearingen out of Missouri with a beautiful 41 Willys. They're backing up into those hot, sticky tracks of rubber. The guy in front is a crewman. He wants to get him set right on that hot rubber.
Young gun near lane, world champ far lane should be exciting. Oh, and a pedal job by Swearingen, and he gets him at the finish line. 4:08 with a 1, drives around Jason Scruggs. What a race. Let's take a look at the 1-800-GO-GUARD.com instant replay. From the reverse angle, Jason Scruggs an 040 hole shot. When that happens, the champ usually gets the win. Not this time. The kid's driving it close to the center line, back and forth, and at the stripe as he gets right up on Jason and passes him by that much.
Travis Swearingen had to go to the starting line thinking, well, I'm going to do everything I can, but hey, look who I'm running. Unbelievable.
Exactly. Every time I come up there against Jason, he always gets the best out of me.
Well, he gets the best of everybody. Don't feel like he's picking on you. It went 4:08 pedaling. I'm more impressed with that, I think, than anything else. You were in and out of it 3 times.
Exactly. This thing's going to go once we finally get this thing to go down the racetrack. But right now we're just fighting it. Hopefully next round we'll be doing a little better.
The Chevrolet Lumina, Michael Neal from Pace, Florida, backs up to the starting line. His opponent will be Joshua Hernandez out of Conroe, Texas, with a National Guard sponsored gorgeous 57 Chevrolet, one of the most popular bodies in the history of automobiles.
Should be a great race. Michael Neal hungry for a win. Josh wanting to win his first race with his new sponsor, the National Guard.
Well, he did it right. A 0.51 gets the whole shot for Joshua. 390, 193.
Josh's new crew chief and Tommy Leeper could not be happier with the win.
You know, anytime you get a brand new sponsor, a brand new paint job, a brand new crew chief, you might find a little pressure on the driver.
Yeah, but I tell you what, you got a great sponsor, you got a great crew chief, got a great race car.
And you got lane choice, 390. 390.
Way to go, guys.
Now listen to this. This is something that'll make even you raise your eyebrows, considering a certain Mr. Jim Oddie. 60-foot time, 0.967.
I'm telling you, my kidneys hurt. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's all for the boys. It's all for the National Guard and the guys that came out and support us this weekend. This is incredible.
Burning out right now, Steve Wiley from Liberty Hill, Texas, 1968 Camaro, and in the far lane, burning out right behind him, Bubba Stanton, the number 2 qualifier out of Mississippi.
Bubba Stanton driving for Roger Henson in the Widowmaker Corvette, our 2006 World Champion in Pro Extreme.
And Bubba immediately goes red. You blew it, baby! Give the win right there to Steve Wiley.
Steve Wiley was having all kinds of problems. We'll look at the reverse angle once again. 1-800-GO-GUARD.com instant replay. As Wiley launches, Bubba's red, party's over.
Now be honest. Did you see the red?
No, I didn't. I didn't see the red.
But you heard it in the helmet, didn't you?
I was on my game, but, man, they told me on the radio, and I take them out, I can get them, man. Oh, man.
It's all you can do. I mean, you got a lot of friends at this race. Yeah. You got a lot of people that know who you are. You can only battle these guys as far as you can, and when it falls in your lap, you take it.
Well, we come out here to go racing, and if it wasn't for all them guys that you're talking about, we wouldn't be here. You know, anybody out there will loan you anything they need or anything you need, and it's a big family, and it's great. That's what this is all about.
Now, Gene Hector with his 63 Corvette was supposed to run Hugh Scott. Hector qualified number 6. He'll get the gimme.
And it's a shame for Hugh Scott. He qualified number 14, couldn't make the call, so Hector's going to get the single, as you said. But as I look at our chief starter, Eddie Cranford, from behind here, problems for Hector. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take the tree, and the car dies. Hector breaks, but per the ADRL rules, he took the water, so he's going to go ahead and advance. Not exactly how he wanted to advance, but advance nonetheless. Obviously dejected. Gene Hector's going to go to the semifinals, but I know he wanted to put on a show.
Here's the way they'll pair up. The unusual thing about this semifinal round, the number 9 and 10 qualifiers are still in it. Jim Oddie, the genius with big block blown motors. We'll talk to him when we return.
Knowledge is horsepower. EngineVideos.com is the place to find the latest instructional videos to assist you with your hands-on automotive projects. Learn about heads, boarding and valve trains, performance carburetors, nitrous oxide, superchargers, performance engine building, and even tips on tuning your ride. All power building videos are double and triple DVD sets with a minimum of 3.5 hours of highly detailed information with much more detail than any book, period. Great gift idea for the gearhead on your list. Knowledge is horsepower. Visit us online at EngineVideos.com.
Locar, maker of the original flexible engine and transmission dipsticks. Innovator of the exclusive lockout button for our automatic transmission shifter. With universal applications for easy installation. We also offer tech service from the manufacturer. Locar, always building American quality with a lifetime warranty. For more on our free catalog, email us at catalog@locar.com. Locar, quality, plain and simple.
Welcome back to Adrenaline, the series, and our ADRL coverage of the Drag Illustrated Dragpalooza 4, the skyline of Houston, Texas, because we're just outside of Houston in Baytown. Let's check in now with Brett Kepner.
It's been a big year already for what used to be known as the Dr. Moon's Rage 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Now, the hardcores will remember when Howard Moon tuned this car with Josh Hernandez driving to several major victories, including some dominating performances at ADRL competition. But this year, with brand new livery under the National Guard sponsorship, they've also added a new crew chief. It's no longer Dr. Moon, it's Dr. Adi. He may have been around this business for a half a century, but he just proved in the second round, I should say, that at 3.90 seconds, you still know how to tune these things. That's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, you know, I'm telling you, I told Josh I don't want to race against that guy. He is under control. He's one of, I'll tell you, I ain't seen a driver like him since Fred Hahn. I'm telling you, he's got control of that car every inch of that racetrack. I mean, I haven't seen that. I just giggle when I watch him stage.
Speaking of giggling, let's look at this from the true hardcore drag racer perspective. How many times had you retired up until last year?
Well, last year was a main deal. I really sold off everything and moved down south to Mooresville, North Carolina. Really, I really did a good job, I thought, and I did really good. I had a really lot of good offers last year, and I just didn't really. I wasn't healed. And when Troy called me, I mean, Troy's been a good friend. He's the only one that ever drove the car other than Fred Hahn when it went to Lebanon Valley to test one day and ended up winning the race. So, I mean, I've been longtime friends of Troy. I really like Troy, Dave, and Gidget. There's no better family to race for. And these guys, I mean, they make my job easy. This is fun. This is a deal you know I would have run back in the old Black Mariah days, right? I mean, this is the way drag racing should be. Come on out here and run the car down the racetrack. And however you got to do it, you do it.
What's your point?
Well, I thought I was too late. I thought it passed me by, but maybe it didn't.
We'll get back to the four-wheel guys right now. It's going to be adrenaline on two wheels. First of all, Pro Extreme Motorcycle, T.T. Jones, Harvest, Alabama, Suzuki. His opponent will be Monty Campbell from Venice, Florida on the Kawasaki.
Monty and Amy Campbell and the boys driving all the way up from Venice, Florida. T.T. Jones and Angelia Jones are two of the nicest people, Ted. They come out on Thursday, set up, have a cookout, ate with them this past week. T.T. gets the win, 4:36. Angelia, as always, happy as can be.
36.
You said consistency was the name of the game. 4:36, that is consistent. What, 3 runs now within 300s?
Yes, sir. First one was 38, 39, 36.
But you haven't bothered with worrying about the track. I mean, I don't think you've changed anything on the bike all night, have you?
Not a thing. I aired up, put fuel in it, and that's it.
A perfect race so far. One more round, we'll find out if it's really perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Here comes the Legion of Doom. Ronnie Procopio, Wake Forest, North Carolina, on his Suzuki. His opponent will be this man, Cootie Thomas, Allenwood, Georgia, 2003 Hayabusa.
Cootie Thomas, a fan favorite. His autograph line is always around the corner. Should be an exciting race.
Oh, red light start for Thomas.
Oh, Cootie. He gave it away last year in the finals in the battle for the belts to Billy Vose. Ronnie Procopio, 4:35. Cootie's crew obviously dejected.
I'll bet you looked over real quick to make sure that was a red light, didn't you?
Hey, definitely, I did. You know, I did. I didn't think at that speed I'd have time to look over.
Wait a minute, what was that I just saw?
Nice and red.
And here's the best part of the present. A couple of thou got your lane choice.
Did it really?
4:35. You saw TT ahead of you go a 36.
Perfect.
Semifinals time now for the Extreme 10.5. This is Steve Gorman, Whitesboro, Texas, with a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am. His opponent in the other lane, there he is, purging the nitrous, Kenny Neese, Trip, South Carolina, 63 Corvette, gorgeous paint job, mural on the side.
The Joker's wild, but how much could that paint job help him? He's going to need a little bit of help. He's got the world champ in the far lane.
Well, he just painted it red.
Had to push the tree against the world champ. Needed all he can get as Gorman's all kinds out of control. Stevie was 0-0-4 on the tree. Let's take a look at the 1-800-GoGuard.com instant replay, Ted. We see Kenny Neese goes red, and then after that, things start to get a little bit interesting for the champ. The car's drifting towards the guardrail. He tries to bring it back, overcorrects just a little bit, and then does an incredible job of saving it, actually up on two wheels at one point during the run. Pure adrenaline here in Baytown.
When you're a world champion, people expect you to drive like a world champion, but when you're a world champion, you don't often figure you're ever going to be in a situation that you got to drive that hard.
Yeah, boy, the track's getting a little cold, and it
Just a little.
Got a little loose up there, to say the least. And what do? You stayed with it, and I pedaled it and got back in it, and here we are.
I'm going to take a gamble and say you didn't see Neese's red light.
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't figure you would have legged it as far as you did.
I did not.
He was red by about 0.004 of a second, so
Wow.
consider that a compliment to you.
Here comes Michelle Wilson out of Texas with the Firebird. A good look right there at her in the driver's seat, motioning her crew, telling them what she wants to happen.
Need to get things right. She's got a tough opponent in the other lane, and David Janes. David, our current world record holder in speed here in the ADRL. Michelle going to purge the nitrous, and backfires it through the carburetor, kicks the intake, and I think that will be the end of her day.
Well, tough way to go out. I'll tell you, she was a number 9 qualifier. She shouldn't have really been here, but her luck ran out.
David Janes going to get the single for Wes Buck in Drag Illustrated. Everybody at Rare Morrison, everybody at Speed Tech. Chief starter Eddie Cranford gives him the 1. That means he's going to have a single, as we stated. He'll go on his merry way. Those 10.5-inch tires, though, Ted, is he going to make the full run and try to get lane choice? We'll see.
He got lane choice, 443 for James.
Take a look at the instant replay. Michelle Wilson, as she hits that button, what she's doing there, Ted, she wants to purge the nitrous system. Something happens mechanically, kicks the intake off, and Michelle's night comes to an abrupt halt.
Last fall, when David Janes ran over 178 miles an hour on these little tiny 10.5-inch wide tires, the car was stable. Now here you are under, shall we say, less than perfect conditions for these types of cars, and I'm thinking that run wasn't stable.
No, we thought the dude would be coming in, so we dialed it down a little bit, and it run just about what we thought it would.
More semifinal action will be coming up next. Stay tuned. Adrenaline from Houston.
I joined the National Guard and never thought I'd be saving lives.
I never thought I'd have such an impact on my community.
It's more than money for college. It's built my character and given me a sense of accomplishment.
Citizen soldiers have 2 missions. One is right here at home during emergencies.
The Guard opened the door for me. Now I'm on a career path and I'm the leader of my team. When your country calls, you go proudly.
I put on the uniform and I have a whole new outlook on life. Country, community, family. That's what matters most to me. If that matters to you, go to 1-800-GoGuard.com.
Back at Houston. Hey, honey, I shrunk the dragsters, Kenny. What's going on here?
The Roy Hill Junior Drag Racing School came out this weekend, and it's the debut of our new division. The Pro Junior Division will run in all 9 ADRL national events this year. If you've got a junior dragster and you campaign it around the country, log on to ADRL.us for our schedule, and you see our first Pro Junior event champion, Kristen Beasley, picking up the Minuteman.
As we've pointed out so many times before, the craftsmanship involved in creating one of these cars in virtually any of the professional categories is unbelievable, but nobody knows it better than this guy. David Janes, going into the Extreme 10-5 final, knows it well because you build it. You're probably the only guy in the final rounds that built his own car.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's something to be, if that's smart or...
Well, it's in the final round, so you can boast about it this time. If you'd lost first round, it'd be a whole other story. How long did it take to put this thing together?
Oh, there's about probably 800 to 1,000 hours in this car.
And most people don't realize it, but you don't build cars for a living. This is a hobby that you do.
Yeah, it's kind of a exaggerated hobby, I like to call it. So.
I'm sure that, I don't know how big your family is, but I'm sure everybody else knows how much time it takes.
I tell you, my hat's off to them because, you know, they're very understanding when it comes to this. My wife and kids put up with a lot, and you know, their dad's not around a whole lot, so
well,
very understanding.
I'll tell you how I knew that it wasn't a full-time job for you. Do you know how I knew?
I probably read it in Drag Illustrated.
I read it in Drag Illustrated magazine. In fact, the new issue, Wes Buck, who is a part of this car, is the editor of Drag Illustrated magazine, as well as a crew member on this car. Crew chief on this car. Is there anything you don't do?
Juggle.
You don't juggle?
No crocheting either, no.
Now, out of curiosity, as we pointed out at the very beginning of the show, this event is presented by Drag Illustrated magazine. How did that come about?
Honestly, it was just an opportunity that Kenny Nolling, the president, presented us with, and we jumped on it. Some other stuff had fallen through, and it was a great opportunity for us to build our brand as a new company, and it was a great opportunity for us and everybody at Drag Illustrated. And look at the crowd. I mean, we couldn't be happier. It's been fantastic. My hat's off to all these guys for an incredible show.
Of the 4 cars in Pro Nitrous semifinal, 3 of them are Camaros. Here comes 2 of them right now. Randy Weatherford, the Tar Heel, will take on Pat Stoken, who came all the way from Montana, we'll remind you.
Pat picked up the bonus for being the #1 qualifier, an extra $1,000 going back to the bank account in Montana. As one of his boys opens the door on the Camaro to get it ready to launch and take on Weatherford.
What a launch! Equal reaction times. Well, we had a drag race. Randy Weatherford walks away 437. Stoken problems, slowed to a 674. And while the other semifinalists burn out, let's go to top 8 with Brett.
You know, there hasn't been one round today that Randy Weatherford would consider right. But what are you going to do?
Keep trying.
That's right. You got one more chance to do it. That's more than most of the people in the class. What's different about this car than last year's Corvette?
Well, you know, my last car I had, that Corvette, I couldn't get it to run. This car is built a little bit different like the car I had before. And it's a good piece. I mean, it'll run. I just got to get some more time on it and stuff. And plus, I got this Mesco logo. It's fun in this thing.
Jim Halsey purchased the nitrous oxide on his 1968 Camaro. He'll be taking on the fuel-injected guy, Harold Martin, the #2 qualifier, right there in the National Guard 2006 Trans Am.
Harold Martin joining teammate Joshua Hernandez in the National Guard entries, both in the semifinals. Let's see if one of them can get to their first final of 2008.
Well, Halsey had it right off the starting line and all the way through 403. Again, problems over there for Harold Martin. Slowed it down to a 511.
And Jim Halsey's crew is happy as they can be.
403, the only guy that's gotten down the track in the last couple of pairs, tells you that you know what you're doing anyway.
Well, we've tested a little bit this fall or this spring actually on some colder tracks, so we're a little bit used to it. It rattled the tires pretty hard in 1-2, that's why it slowed down a little bit.
Pro Extreme semifinals, gorgeous 41 Willys, the underdog, #9 qualifier, Travis Swearingen. You're not supposed to be here. However, Joshua Hernandez is qualified #4 with that 57 National Guard Bel Air.
His teammate Harold Martin couldn't get it done, did not make it to the final. Joshua Hernandez now with an opportunity to fly those National Guard colors into victory circle if he can get past Swearingen and then win the final.
Hernandez flew the colors first off the starting line, 071 to 107, weaving mid-course, picks up the win, 395. Look at it again, Kenny.
From behind, let's take a look at just how close to the center line Travis Swearingen got. Remember, these cars have more horsepower than any of the cars on the property. Travis weaving around, just gets to the center line. Josh third consecutive 3.
I tell you, it was tough, but we've got over 350,000 National Guard troops out there. They're behind us. You know, the guys are making great calls. We're all trying to do our best this weekend for Interlink Mortgage, for everybody in the National Guard. It's the first race out. We got a little gremlins, got a lot of bugs, but we're having fun. I've never seen so many people in the stands in Houston in all my life. You bet. We're going to put on a show for them. We're going to go as fast as we can.
Here comes Steve Wiley with that 68 Camaro from right here in Texas. He'll take on Gene Hector, who had problems with the Corvette, as we get a good look at Gene in the driver's seat.
We'll see if the Circle H Oil Incorporated car got those problems worked out between rounds. Gene Hector, Steve Wiley. One of these guys is going to take on the super team of Joshua Hernandez as the underdog. We'll see who gets it done, and Hector goes red, and when you do that, you've eliminated all your options. Wiley's going to coast to his first ever final at a 571. Hector getting back in it there right at the last second. We'll take a look at the 1-800-GOGUARD.com instant replay. Ted, walk us through it.
He evidently did not see the red line because he stays in it. He's skating all over, almost into the wall. That's really hard on the paint job, Kenny.
Maybe that's why he just paints it flat black in case he has to repair it, Ted.
Did you know he went red?
I did see that one.
Okay, I didn't know. And obviously, you must have chattered or something and realized that you could get out of it.
Yeah, it rattled the tires right out of the gate for the most part, and I seen him, he was red, so he was out a little early, or a lot early.
Yeah, well, either way, it was enough to send you into the final for sure. And I couldn't think of a better way to start off a season in front of everybody you know than being in the final round against Josh Hernandez in an all-Texas final.
It feels great.
Finals are next, and they're all after this. The Minuteman Trophy from the National Guard. Stay tuned.
"25 years of design and thousands of man-hours on product development. Flowmaster measures real performance where it matters most. Delivering the power you want, Flowmaster's complete family of performance mufflers outperforms any other street muffler with a sound and tone that's right for your vehicle. Check out our website, flowmastermufflers.com.
I joined the National Guard and never thought I'd be saving lives.
It's more than money for college. It's built my character and given me a sense of accomplishment.
Now I'm on a career path, and I'm the leader of my team.
I put on the uniform, and I have a whole new outlook on life. Country, community, family. That's what matters most to me. If that matters to you, go to 1-800-GOGUARD.com.
Adrenaline the Series is being brought to you by Linda America. Need to refinance your home? Log on to lindamerica.com. And by the ADRL. For more information and to join, log on to adrl.us. Finals time for Pro Extreme Motorcycle. And while they're getting set, let's check in once again with Brett Kepner.
You know, obviously the American Drag Racing League Series draws some pretty high-dollar operations, but Steve Wiley will be the first one to tell you that you're anything but. I'm curious, what does Steve Wiley do during the week?
I own a transmission shop in Round Rock, Texas.
And I would imagine that transmission shop probably pays for every nut and bolt on that car, right?
Yeah, I used to actually work for somebody else and got paid a lot of money, so I built this car, and now I'm self-employed so I can go racing, and we're looking for some help along the way for sure.
Well, I think you stumbled onto a few because of the several dozen people that have been around the pit area here. Like I said down on the top end, I think most of them are good friends of yours.
Yeah, they are, and you know, only thing I can offer them is a good meal and probably some cold beer after we get done.
It apparently is enough to keep them thrashing because they've been here for every round. Does this start the gears turning, saying, you know, geez, maybe I should make a couple of trips on the ADRL Tour this year?
I would love to. Definitely, we're looking for some marketing partners to help us do that. I think we've got a top-notch organization. We've got a good car. Obviously, we're consistent. We're going to the final. We've got good enough equipment. We just need somebody to help us pay the way. And, you know, I'm glad we got to come and make a good showing. Maybe that'll help us out.
The Pro Extreme Motorcycle Final is the bikes burn him out. Ronnie Procopio and his Suzuki. It's the old battle, Suzuki against Suzuki. Riding the other Suzuki is this man, T.T. Jones from Harvest, Alabama.
Both of these guys looking for their first ever ADRL national event victory and the National Guard Minuteman that goes along with it.
to Ronnie Procopio, 0.27 reaction time.
And the Legion of Doom are going crazy on the starting line. First ever win for this team. Let's take a look at the instant replay, Ted.
1-800-GO-GUARD.com instant replay off the starting line. First, as I said, was Procopio, but he couples that to a 4.33, which beats out Jones's 4.41.
I got to tell you, under these conditions, for you to step up to a 4.33 is pretty darn incredible.
I'm impressed myself. I got to give it all to Dan Wagner from DTM Performance. He's a wizard when it comes to put numbers in these boxes. I can't say enough for him. I want to thank him. Worldwide Bearings, if it wasn't for them, this bike wouldn't roll freely. My whole crew from Legion of Doom, Superman, Rob Honeycutt, I had a blast. And ADRL, this is the best race you can come to.
I couldn't agree more, Ronnie. As we take a look at the point standings, Procopio jumps from number 6 all the way up to number 1 with his win.
Finals for the little tire guys. David James, La Plata, Missouri will burn out that Grand Am. In smoke and purging the nitrous is Steve Gorman out of Texas.
The champ. You see the one on the side of the window. As these guys stage up, let's let the cars tell the story.
Identical 441s, the whole shot of Gorman 012 is what won the race for him. Yeah.
Gorman's crew chief Jeremy gonna hold that Minuteman over his head proudly. Way to go, guys. The champ gets his first win of 08. Not a bad way to start his title defense.
We'll look at it again. 1-800-GOGUARD.com bringing us the instant replay. Not only did they have identical 441s, identical 441 with a 1.
When both drivers run exactly identical elapsed times, who wins?
I do.
In this case, the guy that goes 0.12 on the tree did.
How about that? It was same lapse time.
441, both of you. It was 0.12 to 0.50.
No way.
Only the driver won this one, buddy.
Thanks, guy.
The champ won the battle, but David James with the runner-up finish is winning the war. 718 points has got him out in the number 1 spot. Kenny Neese right behind at 667.
Happy hour for the Pro Nitrous guys. Randy Weatherford out of Providence, North Carolina will face Jim Halsey, the number 3 and 4 qualifiers meeting up.
Tim McCamus Race Cars 68 Camaro in the near lane. Jerry Bickle Race Cars 68 Camaro in the far lane. Battle of the chassis manufacturers. Battle of a couple of giants here in Pro Nitrous.
Weatherford out first. But Halsey drives around 403, beats a 404. These finals are incredible, Kenny.
This late into the night, the track supposedly is going away. The atmosphere's not right. And as we look at the instant replay and the fire pouring out of the pipes of these Pro Nitrous Camaros, Jim Halsey at the finish line by that much. What a drag race.
I got to hand it to you. It came down to the 2 most consistent cars, and it was that kind of drag race. 14 thousandths at the stripe. You can't tell me you didn't see or hear him.
No, I saw him all the way up through high gear. I could feel it pull away from him a little bit there in high gear, but it was tight, very tight.
403 to 404, and he left on you by just a tad. It was, like I said, amazing that we would see that good of a drag race under these conditions, but I think that says a lot about the finalists.
It says a lot about the quality cars here with the ADRL. This one's for all these guys in this red golf cart coming down here. Eric, Kathy, Alan, Patrick, Gene Fulton, Tim McCamus. Best stuff out there.
An amazing job. Not your first ADRL win, and certainly not your last. Congratulations, buddy.
As we take a look at our Pro Nitrous point standings, Jim Halsey, by virtue of his win, jumps all the way up to number 2 in points. Randy Weatherford ends up in 6th.
Pro Extreme Finals, the beautiful 57 Chevrolet of Joshua Hernandez will burn out. He qualified number 4. But here's the guy, Steve Wiley from Liberty Hill, Texas, in his Camaro. He's not supposed to be here. He qualified number 10. He's the underdog. What about it?
Everybody loves the underdog except for those 350,000 citizen soldiers of the National Guard. We know they're pulling for Team Red and Josh Hernandez.
Wiley had him off the starting line. Hernandez drives by 396, beats out a 440.
Great job by the entire crew. Hugs from Dave Wood, Tommy Leeper, Troy Critchley receiving his Minuteman from Sergeant John Metzler. Great job by the entire National Guard team.
That is awesome.
I will reiterate that a brand new car, a brand new team, a brand new crew chief, and a brand new sponsor puts an awful lot of pressure on a driver. And I know that you were feeling it throughout the day, but the fact that you and Jim Otte together held this thing together to put down a string of 3-second runs, the only person on the property to do it, is mind-boggling.
I'll tell you what, I got the best team out there. That's what it was. It was a team effort. Everybody came together, did their jobs, did an excellent job. It was a great effort. I mean, for the National Guard, for Interlink Mortgage, for Redline, all the people that came out and sponsored this year and said, you know, you guys did real good last year. I want to see you go do it even better next year. It's for them.
Well, I do want to say that Tommy Leeper, as you know well, for having driven for him for several seasons now, Tommy Leeper often has that look of determination on his face. And I think this time around, Tommy Leeper wanted more than anything to show the world what this team could do. So I think everybody came through for him.
I'll tell you what, the one thing that Tommy has always given to this team is the tenacity. I mean, he never quit.
And indeed, you didn't. Unbelievable job.
Thank you, yeah!
As we take a look at our ADRL Pro Extreme Battle for the Belts point standings, Jason Scruggs, the champ, stays in number 1, but Josh is right on his heels in number 2. With his runner-up finish, Steve Wiley climbs into the top 8 at number 7.
That'll bring to a close our coverage from Houston, Texas. This is Ted Jones for Kenny Nowling and Brett Kepner. So long, everyone. Adrenaline the Series is a production of Masters Entertainment Group in association with ADRL Productions.